The New York Times Company versus the United States of America took place in 1971. During the controversial Vietnam War, Daniel Ellsberg, who previously worked with the government as a Defense Department official, did not agree with the government's decisions throughout the war. Government documents called the Pentagon Papers were leaked to the New York Times. The papers included information about what government officials were thinking when forming the decision to go to war with Vietnam. The federal government wanted to block their publication, so the New York Times went to court for their First Amendment right. It started in a district court, but was appealed by the U.S. to the Supreme Court. The constitutional dispute was whether the government could control the publication of press to protect national security. The amendment they were arguing over was the First Amendment, more specifically, the freedom of press section, and whether the government could control it under this circumstance. The plaintiff, the New York Times, argued that prohibiting the media from publishing the Pentagon Papers was unconstitutional because it goes against the freedom of press. They stated that the Constitution protected media and press so that news outlets could write exposés about the government to improve transparency, also to inform the people of the U.S. The U.S. interpreted it differently, though, that the executive branch has the right to executive privilege in order to keep our country safe. Executive privilege is being able to keep information from other branches to protect national security. The New York Times argued that although the president has the right to executive privilege, at this point it was just abused, because the other branches knew about the Pentagon Papers, because the legislative branch is the branch that declares war. The Supreme Court sided with the New York Times. They agreed that the Constitution protected the press from limitation from the government, and that in this case, the government was not allowed to censor this news outlet. It was a 3-6 decision. Some judges thought that the president does have the right to executive privilege in order to protect our country and worldwide relations. However, majority of the judges thought that this power was abused. This Supreme Court ruling greatly affected society, because now everyone in the U.S. can know what's going on through the press.